Kid Rock on the Valley's Best Rock, 105.1 The Blaze. Rash and Justus for Bring Justice to the Movies.
The movie industry is made up of two separate but equally important groups. The theaters who display the movies and the critics who overvalue their opinions. These are our reviews. The Morning Blaze is bringing justice to the movies.
Welcome back, sir.
Yo, what's up?
Every week, Bring Justice to the Movies, brought to you by Maya Cinemas here in Fresno. Normally, you go to the theater with a listener, and we set you up with VIP seats, free popcorn and sodas. But we've been doing Bring Justice to the Movies Home Edition because that's where all the new movies are coming out these days.
Yep.
Until further notice, including a new one that came out, I think last week is when it was officially released. This week we watched The King of Staten Island.
Yes, we did.
Thoughts, sir?
I loved it.
Really?
I thought it was really funny. It's pretty standard Judd Apatow movie.
Let's start with what it's about and the premise and all that, and then we'll get into what we thought of it. You go ahead and tell people what the movie is now that we've seen it.
So it stars Pete Davidson. For those of you who don't know who that is, he's on SNL sometimes. Mm-hmm. And this is a semi-autobiographical movie about him. He wrote it, and it's basically about a kid who lost his dad when he was really young, so he, I want to say kind of wilds out, but he wilds out.
Yeah, he grew up without his dad. I think his dad died when he was 7.
Yeah.
And it messes him up. It's a fairly normal thing to happen. It's a very traumatic thing to happen to a kid, and he ends up living the rest of his life kind of messed up as a result of of that.
Pretty much. And then his mom starts dating another guy, and he doesn't exactly like that, and, well, the movie goes on from there.
Okay, so I'll tell you what I thought, and then you can tell me your in-depth thoughts. All in all, I thought it was pretty good. I will say it's pretty heavy, to be honest. It's got some funny parts in it, and it's definitely a comedy. It's funny, but you have to know that you're going into it, and it's going to hit you in the feels quite a few times. And there's a lot of uncomfortable sequences as well, because if you like Justice said, this is loosely based on Pete's actual life. His real dad was a firefighter who died in 9/11 when he was 7. So that's where most of the subject matter comes from. In the movie, his dad was a firefighter who died saving some people from a fire. And there's no way to hit those notes without it really trying to drive home how messed up he is as a result of this. Mm-hmm. And then, I think the hardest parts for me to watch weren't even necessarily involving him in the movie. I think his mom is kind of a really traumatic character in this because she does everything she can to try to protect him, and that's what leads to him being so screwed up, ultimately. Yeah. So all in all, I thought it was really good. I think it's worth your time. I don't know that it's necessarily like the lighthearted, like knocked-up feel that you got from some of the other movies that are done by the same guy. But I think it's definitely worth your time.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a Judd Apatow movie in that it's going to be funny, you're going to laugh, but also you're going to shockingly feel something like, what is this? So it's definitely one of those. The first half hour of it is really just kind of set up to, you kind of get to know Pete a little better.
Right.
And then once Bill Burr shows up, who's the guy's mom dates, then the movie really starts rolling, and you see him kind of go in defensive mode and all this other stuff, and just the situations he's in, his friends that are in the movie are just, they're freaking hilarious. Yeah. And those are his actual friends too.
Oh, really?
The main guy from his group that set up spoiler alert, set up the robbery. That's going to happen in a movie. That's his actual friend in real life who has 0 acting experience. And his grandpa in the movie was his real grandpa in real life. So it was cool because they shot the whole thing in Staten Island, so he got to bring in actual friends and stuff like that to be in the movie too. So.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I'll go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Not super lighthearted, but it is definitely funny. I will say I don't like when movies just kind of end. And this one does kind of just end. It makes sense. It's not as cold endings as sometimes I've seen.
It doesn't just cut.
It does tie up all the things you're trying to tie up, but it does seemingly right when you're starting to go, oh look, he might figure his life out. The movie's over. You're like, so did he or did he not? I'm not
well,
really
look at him in real life. Do we know?
Very good point. All right, so King of Staten Island, it's available on demand right now if you want to rent that this weekend. Justice and I both give it the thumbs up.
Totally
next week,
checking out.
Tuesday, we'll find out what movie we're checking out next week and maybe give you another chance to win a T-shirt. Justice, well done, sir.
Thank you.
The industry is made up of two separate but equally important groups. The theaters who display the movies and the critics who overvalue their opinions. These are our reviews.